What if I told you that you might actually be a fallen angel? Have you ever felt like you're a stranger or a visitor, like there's a secret part of you that yearns for a place that it can't remember? Sound crazy? Well, we're about to uncover the forbidden knowledge of the Cathars, and it reveals our secret origins. It's information that's so earth-shattering that it was almost erased from history. In the 12th century, a radical movement shook Southern Europe to its core, and it challenged the Catholic Church's very foundations. The Cathars, also known as the Pure Ones, introduced beliefs so revolutionary that they drew the wrath of the Church. But what was it about their knowledge that angered the Church so much, and could it actually reveal the hidden truth about what you really are? Today we're exploring fallen angels' hidden knowledge in a church desperate to keep its power at all costs. We're about to reveal the banned knowledge of the Cathars. Now first, remember to like and subscribe because my channel is about raising consciousness to create a new world. And when you hit the like button, it helps spread this information. So take a second to hit it now. Also, my new book, Neogenesis, Dawn of the New Mind, will be available on May 16th. So who were the Cathars, and why has history tried so hard to silence their voices? Well, the Cathars were a medieval Christian group who believed in a universe dominated not by one, but two gods, a god of light and a god of darkness. The god of light was the creator of the spiritual realm, and the evil god was the master of the physical world, and was actually the God of the Old Testament, the biblical God. Are you starting to see why the church wasn't too happy with their beliefs? So for the Cathars, the universe was torn between two mighty gods. On the good side, the loving God, who's the creator of everything spiritual and pure, and the dark side of the God of the Bible, Satan himself. They called him Rex Mundi, which means king of the world. So according to the Cathars, Rex Mundi, the Old Testament god, Satan, tricked us. How? By getting us to join him in the war in heaven. That's right, according to the Cathars, you are a fallen angel that's become trapped in the material world and tricked into forgetting what you really are. The Cathars had a book, and it was called Interrogatio Johannes, or The Secret Supper. Now, as the title suggests, this book describes a secret supper in the kingdom of heaven, where Jesus reveals to John how Satan formed the earth and created humanity by trapping angelic souls in bodies. According to the secret supper, Jesus said, Satan commanded the earth to bring forth all living things, animals, trees, and herbs. The sea he commanded to bring forth fish, and the air, birds of the heavens. And he pondered on making man to serve him. He took clay of the earth and made man like unto himself. And he then bade an angel of the second heaven to enter the body of clay. Of this body he took apart and made another body in the form of a woman, and bade an angel of the first heaven to enter into it. And the angels grieved deeply that they thus had a mortal form imposed upon them, and that they now existed in different forms. And Satan bade them to perform the works of the flesh in their bodies of clay. See, the Cathars saw the physical world around us as a prison created by an evil god, a place where angelic souls were trapped and tormented. The Cathars weren't just rebels. See, the Cathars were actually visionaries who saw beyond the illusory veil of material existence and into the spiritual domain. Do you ever look at the world and kind of feel disconnected? Like a sense that there's more beyond what we see? Well, that's exactly what the Cathars felt, and they believed that we are more than just human. Is it possible that the Cathars were right, and that we are fallen angels trying to find our way back home? See, the Cathars wanted to reveal what they believed was the ultimate conspiracy, that the God of the Old Testament is actually evil, and our real mission is to escape this physical prison. But if that's all true, how do we escape? We'll answer that in just a minute, but first you might be wondering, if they believed that the God of the Bible was Satan, well, what did they think of the Bible and Jesus? First off, the Cathars looked at much of the Bible and said, no, that's the work of Satan. Yeah, you heard that right. The Cathars actually believed that the Old Testament wasn't inspired by divine wisdom, but by the devil himself. And when it came to Christian symbols and rituals like the cross and baptism and the Eucharist, pure evil in their eyes. So let's talk about the cross for a minute. While most of Christianity saw it as the ultimate holy symbol of sacrifice and forgiveness, the Cathars saw it as nothing more than an evil symbol of worldly power and oppression. Think about it, the cross was a torture device after all, and the Cathars hated it so much they'd destroy it whenever they found one. They were also against baptism. Why? Well, they believed that the material world was evil, and water is material, and so could never be holy, and that it was just a way for a greedy church to make money. The Inquisitor Bernard Gouy wrote this about the Cathars. Of baptism, they assert that the churchmen sell this water out of avarice, just as they sell earth for the burial of the dead and oil to the sick when they anoint them, and as they sell the confession of sins as made to the priests. And then there's the Eucharist. You know, that's the ritual where people eat bread and drink wine to eat the flesh and drink the blood of Jesus Christ. Now, you might think that that's just symbolic, but the Catholic belief to this day is that it literally is actually the flesh and blood of Jesus. Seriously. Archbishop Michael J. Sheehan said, "The bread and wine are changed into the body and blood of Christ, as the church has always taught. Although they still look like bread and wine, they have, by divine power, actually changed into his body and blood. How can we know this? It requires faith. It is a mystery which, like love, we will never fully understand." Well, I don't know about you, but I'm a little skeptical. But whether you believe that the Eucharist is symbolic or literal, to the Cathars, this was not a holy ritual, but a downright satanic ritual. I mean, think about it. The idea of eating flesh and drinking blood, to them, it screamed satanic ceremony. What if you invited your religious friend to come with you to a ceremony where you eat the flesh and drink the blood of the leader? Even if it's symbolic, they'd think you were a devil worshiper. Yet they'll invite you to take part in the exact same ritual and not even think twice about it. Not only were the Cathars against eating the flesh and blood of Jesus, they were against eating most animals in general. They were pescatarian and didn't eat animal products like cheese, eggs, or milk. Why? Well, because they believed in reincarnation. And so they saw animals as housing reincarnated souls, making the killing of any animals, except for fish, off limits. Now, speaking of reincarnation, the Cathars totally rejected the idea of Jesus Christ's resurrection as Christians know it. See, for the Cathars, the resurrection wasn't literal, but symbolic of reincarnation, a cycle of rebirth, and they believed that we're all trapped in this cycle until we escape the material world. When it comes to reincarnation and the soul, they taught that the soul was sexless and genderless and immaterial. A man could be reincarnated as a woman and vice versa. And this led to a level of gender equality that was very revolutionary for its time. They offered leadership roles for women that was unheard of in the male-dominated Catholic Church. In a time when women were largely sidelined by mainstream religion, Catharism was breaking barriers and allowing women to become spiritual leaders known as perfects. But how does one actually achieve liberation? How do you escape from the material world? Well, their answer was to completely give up the material world. Imagine giving up everything, not just your iPhone, but your entire physical existence to return to your angelic origins. This was a direct challenge to the church's power, because basically the Cathars were saying, hey, you don't need the church to find God. Actually, you're already divine. You just need to remember what you really are. They were suggesting that the church, with all its rituals and rules, were servants of Rex Mundi, the devil, keeping us distracted from discovering our true angelic nature. So what was the church's reaction? They launched a full-on war, not just against the Cathars, but against the very idea that we could be divine beings stuck in a material prison. This was about controlling the narrative, making sure that we stayed in a state of fear so we could be controlled. The church launched a series of missions to convert or crush them. Pope Innocent III called for a crusade against the Cathars, marking the beginning of the Albigensian Crusade. The first mission against the Cathars occurred on the 22nd of July in 1209, and it's known as the Massacre at Béziers. But get this, according to some records, Béziers was home to nearly 20,000 Catholics and only around 200 Cathars. So the problem was, how could you tell who was a Catholic and who was a Cathar? Well, the military commander, Arnaud Amalric, had a grim solution. He allegedly said, "Kill them all. God will recognize his own." Throughout the years, the Cathars fiercely resisted, but they faced overwhelming odds. And the crusade extended over 2 decades and absolutely decimated the Cathar movement. Now get this, have you ever heard of the medieval Inquisition? Well, one of the main reasons that the Inquisition was formed was to eradicate any remaining Cathars. The last known Cathar perfect was executed in 1321, symbolizing the complete suppression of Catharism. But here's the thing, even after the Crusade and the Inquisition and centuries of time, the Cathar secret isn't lost because it's deep inside all of us. Those of us who feel that there's more to life than meets the eye catch glimpses of the secret. But hold on, is it actually true? Are we really fallen angels? And do we have to reject the material world to return to our true home? Well, the Cathars were onto something, but they didn't have the whole picture. We're not literally angels like how they're described in the Bible. What you are is a lot more incredible. You are an eternal soul, a spark of the infinite, a being of mathematical frequencies, and you originate from a place beyond the physical realm, a realm of pure thought, where everything exists as frequency patterns. This immaterial domain of mind is our true home. But how do we return? Well, it's not about rejecting the world like the Cathars believed, but about engaging with it fully, with eyes wide open to the lessons that it offers. You don't have to give up your smartphone or your favorite foods to find enlightenment. Instead, it's about understanding that while these things are part of our lives, they don't define us. We are so much more. Think about it. Every single thing that we do, every joy, every challenge, it's an opportunity to grow, to learn, and expand. We're here to experience everything, the good, the bad, and everything in between. Imagine it like playing the ultimate virtual reality game in this thing that we call life, and we're trying to level up our characters. This world, with all its chaos and beauty, isn't a prison. It's more like a school, a workshop where we learn, grow, and evolve. We are eternal beings of light and energy that are temporarily experiencing the material realm. And yes, the Cathars were right about one thing, that there's a spark of the divine within each of us, a reminder of our origin from somewhere beyond this physical realm. So what's the takeaway here? It's not about running from the world, but embracing it, learning its secrets, uncovering its truths, and using that knowledge to create a reality that reflects the best of who we are. We're here to love, to learn, to laugh, and yeah, even to cry. We're here to evolve, to make this journey from the material to the spiritual, not by escape, but by understanding and transformation. And as neogenians, that's exactly what we're here to do. But the story doesn't end there, so make sure you like this video and subscribe, because we're going to be reading and exploring the secret books of the Cathars. Now, if you want to help my channel grow and help me reach more people, support my work on patreon.com/MorgueOfficial, or join YouTube at Tier 2 or higher to get access to all our members-only videos. And I want to give a big shout out to everyone who supports. My name is Morgue, and I am neogenian.